Chapter 52, The Crystal Oasis. After the discovery of the lost city of Aurum, Tobian and Nivara spent several days exploring its golden ruins. The city, once a thriving hub of ancient magic, had many secrets hidden within its shimmering walls. They uncovered ancient texts, artifacts imbued with the power of the sun, and even a golden sundial that seemed to manipulate time itself. But as much as the city fascinated them, they both felt the call of new adventures pulling them forward. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the desert sky in shades of orange and purple, Nivara stood on a high dune overlooking the city. The wind whispered through the sands, carrying with it the scent of distant places and unknown mysteries. She knew it was time for a change, time to leave the golden sands behind and embrace the unknown once more. As she closed her eyes, the magic within her stirred. The essence of the desert, which had infused her being, began to shift. Her golden hair started to lighten, turning a pale, almost translucent shade of blue, like the soft glow of moonlight on water. Her amber eyes transformed into a crystalline azure, deep and mesmerizing, reminiscent of the clearest waters. Her skin took on a cool, shimmering quality, like the surface of a tranquil lake reflecting the sky. Her robes, once a flowing cascade of golden silk, now became a diaphanous gown of water-like fabric, rippling gently with every movement. When Nivara opened her eyes, she had become the spirit of the crystal oasis, embodying the serene beauty and mystical qualities of water. Tobian, who had been watching her transformation from afar, approached with a smile. "You've become even more beautiful," he said softly, reaching out to take her hand. "Where do you think the wind will take us next?" Nivara smiled, her voice now carrying the soothing tone of a bubbling spring. "There's a place beyond the dunes, a hidden oasis where the water is as clear as crystal and the air is filled with the songs of forgotten spirits. It's a place of healing and ancient magic, but also of trials that test the strength of one's heart." With the lost city behind them, they set out on their journey to the crystal oasis. The desert landscape gradually shifted as they traveled, the golden sands giving way to rocky outcrops and eventually to lush vegetation. The air grew cooler, and the sound of trickling water reached their ears, a welcome reprieve from the harsh desert climate. After several days of travel, they arrived at the oasis. It was a breathtaking sight, a large, serene lake surrounded by towering crystal formations that glowed softly in the moonlight. The water was so clear that they could see straight to the bottom, where smooth stones and shimmering fish glided gracefully. Tall trees with silver leaves encircled the oasis, their branches swaying gently in the breeze, casting dappled shadows on the water's surface. "This place feels alive," Tobian remarked as they approached the water's edge. "It's as if the very air is filled with magic." Nivara nodded, feeling the pull of the water's energy. The crystal oasis is a sanctuary, a place where the ancient spirits of water reside. But it's also a place of trials. To gain the favor of the spirits and unlock the secrets of the oasis, we must prove ourselves worthy. As they stood at the edge of the lake, the water began to ripple, and a soft, melodic voice echoed through the air. "Welcome, travelers. You who seek the wisdom of the waters must first face the trial of reflection." From the center of the lake, a figure began to emerge, a spirit of water, translucent and graceful, with long flowing hair and eyes that shimmered like the surface of a calm sea. She was the guardian of the oasis, a being of immense power who had watched over the waters for centuries. To pass the trial, the guardian continued, "You must look into the waters and face the truth of your own heart. Only those who can accept their true selves will be granted passage to the heart of the oasis, where the ancient magic lies." Nivara and Tobian exchanged a glance, understanding that this trial would not be one of physical strength or magical prowess, but of inner reflection and self-acceptance. They stepped forward, side by side, and gazed into the crystal-clear waters. As they did, the surface began to ripple and shift, revealing visions of their past, their deepest fears, and their greatest hopes. Tobian saw himself as a young wizard, struggling to master his craft, filled with doubt and uncertainty. He saw his journey with Nivara, the challenges they had faced together, and the moments of doubt where he questioned his own worthiness. But as he continued to gaze into the water, he also saw the love and trust that had grown between them, the strength they had found in each other, and the magic they had created together. Nivara, too, saw her past, her many transformations, her search for identity, and the loneliness that had once plagued her. She saw the different forms she had taken, each a reflection of the world around her, but also a piece of her true self. And as she looked deeper, she saw the connection she had forged with Tobian, a bond that transcended appearances and touched the very essence of who she was. The visions in the water gradually faded, and the surface became still once more. The guardian of the oasis smiled, her voice filled with warmth. You have both faced the truth within your hearts and emerged stronger for it. The magic of the crystal oasis is yours to command. With the trial complete, the waters of the oasis began to glow, and the crystal formations around them shimmered with an ethereal light. At the heart of the lake, a small island appeared, rising from the depths. On the island stood a single, towering crystal, pulsating with a soft, blue light, the source of the oasis's magic. Nivara, her connection to the water spirits deepened, led Tobian to the island. Together, they approached the crystal, feeling its energy resonate with their own. The crystal was a conduit of ancient magic, a source of power that could heal, purify, and create. As they stood before the crystal, Tobian reached out and touched its smooth surface. The crystal responded, sending a wave of warmth through him, filling him with a sense of peace and clarity. He could feel the magic of the oasis flowing through him, enhancing his abilities and deepening his connection to the world around him. Nivara, too, felt the crystal's power, her bond with the water spirits solidifying. She knew that this magic would be a part of her, a source of strength and wisdom that she could draw upon in future adventures. With the power of the crystal oasis now in their possession, Tobian and Nivara prepared to leave, their hearts filled with the knowledge and magic they had gained. The oasis, with its serene beauty and ancient spirits, had granted them a gift that would guide them on their journey. As they left the oasis behind, Nivara's form shimmered once more, her connection to the water spirits transforming her appearance. Her hair became a deep, oceanic blue, her eyes like the depths of a tranquil sea, and her gown flowed like the gentle waves of a calm ocean. New adventures awaited them, and with the power of the crystal oasis in their hands, they were ready to face whatever challenges the world would present next. Chapter 53, The Enchanted Lantern. After leaving the serene beauty of the crystal oasis, Tobian and Nivara ventured into the wilds once more, their hearts filled with the calm power of the waters they had encountered. The desert gradually gave way to dense forests, and the air grew cooler, the scent of pine and moss replacing the dry heat of the sands. As they journeyed deeper into the woods, Nivara felt the familiar stirrings of change within her. The magic of the oasis had been one with water, fluid and reflective, but now the energy of the forest called to her, earthy, vibrant, and alive. She knew it was time to embrace this new power. One evening, as the moon rose high in the sky, casting silver beams through the canopy of trees, Nivara stood alone in a clearing. The light of the moon bathed her in its glow, and she closed her eyes, allowing the energy of the forest to envelop her. Her transformation began slowly. The deep blue of her hair lightened, turning into a rich, verdant green, like the leaves of the tallest trees. Her eyes shifted from the calm azure of water to a brilliant emerald, sparkling with the life of the forest. Her skin took on a warm, golden hue, like sunlight filtering through the leaves, and her gown became a flowing robe of moss and leaves, adorned with tiny, glowing flowers that pulsed softly with the rhythm of the earth. When Nivara opened her eyes, she had become the spirit of the enchanted forest, a guardian of the ancient woods and its hidden magic. She felt a deep connection to the life around her, the trees, the animals, the very earth beneath her feet. Tobian, who had been waiting patiently nearby, watched her transformation with awe. "You've become one with the forest," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Nivara smiled, her voice now carrying the warmth and vibrancy of the forest. "The magic here is different, Tobian. It's ancient and deep, full of life and hidden wonders. I can feel the spirits of the trees, the whispers of the animals, and the pulse of the earth. There's something here, something calling to us." The next morning, they set out to follow the call that Nivara had felt. The forest seemed to guide their steps, the trees parting to reveal hidden paths, the animals leading them deeper into the woods. After several hours of travel, they arrived at a small, secluded glade, where the light of the sun filtered through the trees in soft, golden beams. At the center of the glade stood an old, weathered tree with a hollow trunk. Hanging from one of its branches was a lantern, glowing softly with an otherworldly light. The lantern was made of intricate metal work, its surface engraved with runes and symbols that seemed to pulse with magic. "This must be what's been calling us," Nivara said, stepping closer to the lantern. "I can feel the magic in it. It's ancient and powerful, but it's also waiting for something." Tobian approached the lantern, carefully examining the runes. "These symbols are of the old magic, the kind that predates most of what we know. This lantern isn't just a light, it's a guide, a key to something hidden deep within the forest." As they pondered the meaning of the lantern, the air around them began to shift. The trees rustled as if in conversation, and the light of the lantern grew brighter, casting long shadows across the glade. Suddenly, a voice, soft and melodic, echoed through the clearing. "Seekers of the forest's heart, you have been chosen to carry the lantern of the ancients. With it, you will find your way to the heart of the enchanted woods, where the ancient magic sleeps. But beware, the path is fraught with challenges, and only those with true courage and wisdom will reach the end." Nivara reached out and gently took the lantern from the branch. As she did, the light within it flared, casting a warm, golden glow over the entire clearing. The path before them, once hidden, was now revealed, a narrow, winding trail that led deeper into the forest. With the lantern of the ancients in hand, they began their journey. The path took them through dense thickets, across babbling brooks, and beneath towering trees whose branches seemed to touch the sky. The lantern's light guided them, revealing hidden dangers and illuminating the way forward. As they traveled, they encountered the challenges the voice had warned them of. They crossed treacherous ravines on narrow, swaying bridges made of vines. They solved ancient riddles carved into stone pillars that barred their way, and they faced illusions that tested their resolve and trust in one another. Through it all, Nivara's connection to the forest proved invaluable. She could sense the dangers before they appeared, communicate with the spirits of the trees, and even calm the wild creatures that occasionally crossed their path. Tobian, too, used his magic to decipher the runes and protect them from harm, his bond with Nivara growing stronger with every step they took. After days of travel and trials, they finally reached the heart of the enchanted woods. It was a place of breathtaking beauty, a vast clearing surrounded by ancient trees that glowed with an inner light. At the center of the clearing stood a massive, ancient oak, its trunk wide and strong, its branches spreading out like a protective canopy. Beneath its roots, a small spring bubbled up, its waters crystal clear and shimmering with magic. The lantern's light pulsed as they approached the tree, and the voice they had heard before spoke once more. "You have reached the heart of the enchanted woods, where the ancient magic of the forest lies. Place the lantern in the spring, and you shall unlock the power that sleeps within." Nivara and Tobian approached the spring, their hearts filled with anticipation. Nivara knelt by the water's edge and gently placed the lantern in the spring. As soon as the lantern touched the water, the entire clearing was bathed in a brilliant, golden light. The ancient oak seemed to come alive, its branches swaying, its leaves rustling as if in celebration. The light from the spring surged upward, enveloping the lantern and transforming it into a brilliant orb of light. The orb floated above the spring for a moment before splitting into two beams of light that shot toward Tobian and Nivara, infusing them with the magic of the forest. Nivara felt the power of the forest surge through her, deepening her connection to the earth, the trees, and all living things. Tobian, too, felt the magic fill him, enhancing his abilities and granting him a deeper understanding of the ancient runes and spells. The light gradually faded, leaving the glade serene and still. The lantern, now transformed into a small, glowing crystal, floated back to Nivara's hand. She knew that this crystal was a gift from the forest, a source of power that would aid them in their future adventures. As they left the heart of the enchanted woods, Nivara's form shifted once more. Her hair became a deep, rich brown, like the bark of the ancient oak, her eyes turned a soft amber, glowing with the warmth of the forest, and her gown became a robe of deep green, adorned with vines and leaves. With the magic of the enchanted woods now part of them, Tobian and Nivara set off for their next adventure, knowing that the forest's wisdom and power would guide them on the path ahead. Chapter 54, The Moonlit Labyrinth. As they journeyed further from the heart of the enchanted woods, Tobian and Nivara found themselves in a landscape that shifted and changed with each passing hour. The trees thinned out, giving way to rolling hills and misty valleys, where the moon hung low and full in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the land. The moonlight seemed to hold a special magic in this place, and Nivara felt its pull deeply. It was a calling she couldn't resist, a soft, melodic whisper in the wind that urged her to embrace the silvery light of the moon. She knew it was time to change once more. That evening, as the moon reached its zenith, Nivara stood on a hilltop, her silhouette bathed in the gentle light. She closed her eyes and let the moon's magic wash over her, feeling the transformation begin. Her rich, earthy brown hair slowly lightened to a shimmering silver, flowing like liquid moonlight down her back. Her eyes, once warm amber, shifted to a pale, a luminous silver, reflecting the glow of the moon. Her skin took on a soft, pearlescent sheen, and her gown transformed into a flowing robe of silken silver threads that seemed to weave themselves from the very light of the moon. Nivara had become the spirit of the moonlit night, embodying the serene and mystical power of the moon. She felt a deep connection to the night, its secrets and mysteries now part of her being. Tobian watched in awe as Nivara completed her transformation. "You look like a goddess of the moon," he said, his voice filled with admiration and wonder. Nivara smiled softly, her voice echoing with the gentle tones of the night. "The magic of this place is tied to the moon, Tobian. There's something here, hidden in the light and shadows. We must find it." As they descended from the hill, they noticed the landscape around them shifting again. The rolling hills gave way to a vast, open plain, and in the distance, they could see a structure rising from the ground, an ancient, labyrinthine maze, its walls glowing faintly with moonlight. "The moonlit labyrinth," Tobian murmured, recognizing the structure from his studies. "It's said to be a place of great power, where the moon's magic is strongest. But it's also a place of trials and illusions, designed to test those who seek its secrets." Nivara nodded, feeling the maze's pull on her spirit. "This is where we're meant to go, Tobian. The labyrinth holds the key to the moon's power, and it's waiting for us to find it." Together, they approached the entrance of the labyrinth. The walls were tall and smooth, made of a pale stone that glowed softly in the moonlight. The entrance itself was marked by a pair of stone pillars, each adorned with runes that shimmered as they drew near. As they stepped into the labyrinth, the air around them grew cooler, and the light of the moon seemed to intensify, casting long shadows on the ground. The path before them was narrow and winding, with walls that seemed to shift and change with each step they took. The first trial came quickly. As they rounded a corner, they found themselves facing a wall of mirrors, each reflecting a different version of the path ahead. Some showed straight paths, while others depicted winding routes or dead ends. The mirrors seemed to pulse with an unsettling energy, and Tobian knew that only one path was real. "These mirrors are designed to deceive," Tobian said, studying the reflections. "But they can't hide the truth from those who see with clarity." Nivara, her connection to the moon's magic deepened by her transformation, stepped forward. She could feel the energy of the labyrinth, the way the moonlight guided her steps. Closing her eyes, she reached out with her senses, feeling for the true path. "There," she said, pointing to one of the mirrors. "That's the way forward." Tobian nodded, trusting her instincts. They stepped through the mirror, and the illusion dissolved, revealing the correct path. As they continued, they faced more trials, mazes of shadow and light, puzzles that required both intellect and intuition, and illusions designed to lead them astray. But with each challenge, Nivara's connection to the moon grew stronger. She could sense the labyrinth's magic, the way it ebbed and flowed with the light of the moon. And with Tobian's wisdom and magic, they navigated the twists and turns of the labyrinth with growing confidence. Finally, after what felt like hours of winding through the maze, they reached the center of the labyrinth. There, bathed in the full light of the moon, stood an ancient stone altar. Upon it rested a small, intricately carved crystal, glowing with a soft, silvery light. "This is it," Nivara whispered, feeling the power of the crystal. "The heart of the moonlit labyrinth." As they approached the altar, the crystal's light grew brighter, filling the entire clearing with a radiant glow. The air hummed with magic, and Nivara could feel the moon's power surging through her, filling her with its serene energy. Tobian carefully reached out and took the crystal from the altar. The moment he did, the light intensified, and the labyrinth around them began to dissolve, its walls fading into the night until they found themselves standing once more on the open plain. The crystal continued to glow in Tobian's hand, its light a beacon in the night. Nivara knew that this crystal held the essence of the moon's power, a gift that would guide them on their future journeys. With the heart of the moonlit labyrinth in their possession, they set off once more, the moon's light guiding their path. Nivara's form shimmered with the energy of the moon, her connection to its magic now a part of her being. And as they walked into the night, they knew that new adventures awaited them, filled with the wonders and mysteries of the magical world they explored together.